because it's a topic that I've seen different people cover. I think I've actually covered some of it myself, but I know that most of the people who are on my channel are younger men. And as someone who has chosen not to date right now, for a couple reasons. One, I'm not, if the woman I kind of wanted to date, she doesn't want to date me. Uh, I just kind of threw her a curveball like, yo, what's up? Can we? And she's like, nah, I'm good. And I haven't dated in over a year plus, I haven't done anything with any woman. Just, yeah, so I just don't look forward to going out there back into the world and trying to deal with today's women. But when I was dating, put on some music, I found that navigating. Okay, for one, I'm 53. So at my age, you're dating at my age. You're going to date women with children. All right, it's just likely that you're gonna. And the thing about my age is the spectrum of women that come after me at this age are in between fresh out of high school all the way up to 60 something years old. So you know I get I'm sitting, I'm in that pocket where it's just okay for a 60-year-old to say something to me, and it's okay for a 20-year-old to say something to me. Now, some women will be like, you're gold digging, and just like, or you're robbing the cradle. Just like, well, for one, they usually say something to me. That's for one. So I don't know what it's called when it's in reverse, but yeah. But when it comes to the women who are 28 and up, you're gonna run into women with children. Now, if you're looking at somebody who's in their 40s and up, you're looking at a woman with a child who's grown, okay? And don't be surprised if she hits on you, because there's just a shortage of men. So that has happened to me before too, and I've talked about that. But the pros and cons to dating women with a child is you have to take on the responsibility of the child. The child's not yours. That's really the long and short of it. And if you're not ready for that position, then you can't shoplift the pootie. You can't, Jerry Maguire. You can't, because this woman has been to the show. She already knows what's going on. She pretty much knows what you're after, except now she has a child. And, depending on how old that child is, pretty much dictates your relationship with her. If the child is not old enough to speak, like an infant, well then, okay, it doesn't really matter if the child likes you or not. But if that child is, 5, 6, 7 years old, and a little kid just doesn't like you, like at all, which has happened to me, then guess what? Your relationship was good. Your relationship with that woman is not going to work. I don't care how much you two like each other. And I've ran into this before in my 30s. Almost 40, I was dating a woman who had a child who was 15 years old. That little girl did not like me from the jump. But the mother was like, let's get married. And I was just like, I can't marry you. She said, why? I said, because your kid doesn't like me. Now, I'm not going to go out here and slave and feed a kid that doesn't like me. I'm not coming home to your shenanigans. I'm not going to protect you. I'm not going to do anything for you because you don't like me. So I'll be damned if I got to come home and wrestle with your feelings just because your mother and I fell in love. No, when a child is old enough to understand that, they have to make a choice. Listen, your dad's not here. And your mother understands she needs a man. That same woman went off and got married to another guy. They were married for 10 years. She had two more kids by him, and then they got divorced. So she is single today. She's right back in the same spot with two more children. See, that's not my plan. And I'm gonna tell you why. It's a good chance that that little girl didn't like that man either. There are some kids that will not let their mother be with another man. They just don't like it. They think that their father is the bomb, regardless of where their father is. One girl told, I was trying to date this woman that I've known since I was, 17, 18 years old. And I've always been infatuated with her, and I ran into her when I was in my 30s and got to chatting with her, just like, yo, let's get together, let's do something. She had a 15-year-old little girl. That little girl did not like me. And one day the little girl, was on the internet and sent me a message and said I was ugly. I told her, I said, yeah, but your father's in jail. And that was the last I heard from that little girl. And lo and behold, me and the mother did not get together. Because that was one badass little girl. She was doing what she wanted. She was running the mother over because the mother was a nice woman, church girl, who liked thugs. And they ran through her. And so her daughter was a little thug, just running the mother over. So I couldn't do nothing with her because when I say they ran through this girl, they ran through her, and she liked that type of thing. This is the reason why she didn't like me, because I'm a regular degular. She wanted a thug. It's just a complete. Yeah, I'm so petty. How am I petty when I'm just telling the story of what's going on? How do you equate that with petty? How's that petty? Oh, because I told the little girl her father's in jail. Well, guess where her father is? He's in jail. You're 15 years old. Your mother, listen. Oh, okay, yeah. Your father's literally in jail, little girl. Your mother is struggling. She's got a job that she doesn't like. I'm serious, break it down. She had a job that she didn't like, and I told her, I said, listen, with your education and your skills, you can go work for the government. You know what she works for today? The goddamn government. So I come back into this woman's life, uplifting her and encouraging her to do better and showing her all the steps to make. She follows all those steps, she's making more money. Simply because I'm not here to get the draws, well, not only, but I'm here because I'm like, let's get married, let's get together. I'm trying to do what a man's supposed to do, bring you up and out of your situation. And, she took that little advice she got with the government and all that and was like, no, I'm not talking to you no more because I'm too nice. I'm a nice guy. I know her whole family. I'm a nice guy. She does not want a nice guy. She wants somebody to run her into the ground. No. This was some years ago, but I'll say it now, little brat. I don't do, the older I get, the less patience I have with kids. I just don't. Excuse me. The less patience I have with bad kids. Now, good kids, I love good kids. Just a good, well-mannered kid. You ain't got all that lip going on. You don't think that you can whoop a grown man. Just a good kid. You know what I'm saying? A good kid. Hey, listen, I will support that kid. I will buy that kid whatever it takes for that kid to succeed. The daughter keeps the mother from being... Yeah, that's what she was doing. Maybe the mother should be abstinent from dating until the daughter is grown again. But, well, the daughter's grown now. That was some years ago. The daughter's grown. I don't know what the mother's doing. I could talk to her on Facebook, but I don't care. I don't care about what she's doing because she used to let guys run up into her in an alley. And I mean that literally. I'm like, why would you go to... For one, I knew where she was going to. She was going to the hood. And these guys just, would drag her out the club and do whatever they wanted to her. And once she told me that it happened to her, and then she said it happened to her twice, that was it for me. I was no longer interested. because I know what you are now. I know exactly what's going on with you. You know what I'm saying? So I have no interest in her whatsoever. So I don't know what she's doing or how she's doing. Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm out. I'm out. I haven't spent another phone call trying to do anything. That was it. Once I heard that, I was like, oh, you like getting abused by, guys that you don't know. You like that stuff. Your mind is bad. I can't have a wife like that coming home to me with, guys who just ran through her. I'm going to hurt somebody. I'm nice, but I'm not stupid. And I don't want to live that life. That's just a life of pain. So, no. Um, so I'm just saying that a good kid, you know, I encourage, saying I'll put money behind that good kid. I will, I'll go the extra mile, but a bad kid I will not. And I won't try to change a child either. I won't. If a child just wants to be bad, I'm not going to sit up there and say, you shouldn't do this. I'm like, listen, this is what's going to happen to you. I don't, I'm not going to sit up here and tell you that. I've already been down that road trying to tell a bad kid to stop being bad. No, they wanted to be bad. That's what happened to them. So they wanted to be bad. They wanted to be out there. So, and then bad stuff happened to them. And I told them, I said, listen, you better stop because this is what's going to happen to you. And sure enough, it happened to them. So I don't sit up here and try to, these little 10-year-olds, I don't sit up here and try to tell them to stop cursing and all that. I'm just like, listen, let me tell you what's going to happen to you. You keep talking like that, reckless. You get out here in these streets. See, you're protected now, but you take one step too far into these streets and the world's going to eat you alive. And you'll be lucky if you come home. And if you do, you're not going to be the same. There are people who hate you out here for no other reason than you're here. So, you can talk crazy if you want to an adult who's trying to help you, but eventually you're going to talk that crazy stuff to somebody who don't want to hear it. And I know you think because you're 10 and you're all protected by society. Not everybody cares about that. Some of these smart mouth little girls, I'm not going to sit up there and, you should know. I just tell them what's going to happen to them. Somebody's going to, yeah. What up? Yeah, somebody's going to, slap you right in the mouth. And it's probably going to be another 10-year-old girl. It's probably going to be one of these little badass little kids running around the street. And once you get your teeth knocked in, then you're going to, start respecting, your parents and the people who are really trying to help you. I've seen kids run away from people who are trying to help them. And I'm like, where are you going? This world is vicious. They're going to do, what they want. They don't care about you. Stick with the people who care about you. So there's one reason why, if it's a good kid, I'll support that child. But if it's not, and if I'm in that mother's life and that child is just hell on wheels, look, I'll bow out. I'll gracefully bow out. I'll be like, I'm out. Your kid doesn't like me, and I'm not putting up with this. And you would think, oh, you're a grown man, you should take no. No, you don't. You don't have to take that. You don't have to. You don't have to go to work every day and come home to somebody who doesn't like you. No, leave them. Because the mother is the one who allowed that child to be that way because of the company that she kept. And that's really what's going on. You like bad people. And when you like bad people and they come in your house and their spirit comes in the house, and next thing you know, that child has picked up on that spirit. It's just not hard to do. Spirits jump from one body to the other. And when you come in the house and you let somebody in the house who has a bad spirit about them, next thing you know, the spirit jumps on your child. You should not be surprised. This is what you allowed to come in your house. You allowed it to walk right in your house. It either came through the front door, it came through your TV, it came through your radio, that goofy music you listen to every day. It came through your telephone. Yeah, you allowed it to come in your house. You allowed your child to listen to that crazy music. Now your child's crazy and you want somebody, a grown-ass man, to come in help you with your child. No, turn your music off. You listen to the craziest. You sitting there listening to Chicago drill music, and you think your kid is not going to run out here and want to get into it. You let them listen to Pooh Shiesty. This should soon you get in your car, you're taking your kid to school, you turn on Pooh Shiesty. And now you want to know why your kids are getting in fights in school. You want to know where your little 12-year-old got a gun from. Listen, I think a man approaching a fine woman in a heartbeat. If you got it together, you got it together. But you know what? And I'm going to tell you something, especially at my age. If you have, you got two little boys, and those are just some good kids, it's a benefit to me. Because I'm in my 50s. About time they're emancipated, I'm going to be 60-something. I can't move like I did when I was 30. So if you teach them, a lot of things that a man is supposed to know, how to work their hands and fix things around the house, you got yourself, 4 more hands to help get things right. And, you get the head on their shoulders right. Once you get into your 70s, they're going to come back to you and thank you for that. Absolutely. I don't have a problem with that. In the same way if they're two little girls, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you have to look at it like that. This is why families use the dowry to marry into each other so the families can get bigger. It's because they all worked in fields. You know what I'm saying? So the more work you can get out there, the more production you can bring in, the more survivability your family will have. Or if somebody wanted to fight your family and you go out there, you know what I'm saying, and your family's huge, the more survivability. Yeah, so I mean, if you got, or even let's just say two little girls, say you got 2 8-year-olds, and they're just good, smart kids, but the father, he's deceased or something, car accidents, cancer, just all kind of stuff. It's not all the time that a mother is single because the mother is bad, or the father just left. Things happen in life. So, the father is deceased or it just did not work out. And sometimes you meet the dad, and the dad's a good dude. It just, you know what I'm saying? And you're cool with the dad. You're like, yo, I'm going to take over the ship. And he's like, yeah, man, cool. Go ahead, do your best, and this, that, and the third. There are situations like that. The dad is still in their life. It's just that you and the mother have fallen in love. And now all of you are taking care of these two little girls. I don't have a problem with that. And as a matter of fact, I always like to use myself as an example. When I was 19 and as a soldier, I fell in love with a mom, She's like, yeah, I got a little boy, like a little baby, you know what I'm saying? I was like, okay. By another soldier, but he went to another country. She said, I haven't heard from him. I said, write him a letter, tell him you're going to give his kid up for adoption. He'll write you back. That's exactly what she did. Long story short, he ended up coming back in the States and they got married, and I was like, no, go be with him, and because you guys are a family, they had another kid, boom, they're still married today. So I like when the father and the mother, are raising the little shorties. But when it doesn't happen, it just doesn't happen. So I wouldn't come into, fall in love with the mother and then tell the father not to come around. I'd be like, yo, bro, come around, please. As long as he's not starting any trouble, I'd be like, these are your little girls. Like, you're their father. You know what I'm saying? I'm not shutting you off from that. That makes no sense to me. As long as there's not an issue, no. On the weekends, no. I'll be happy to drive them to your house, drop y'all off, or whatever needs to be done, I'm with it. I'm just now with your mother. And we respect each other's position. So that's just that, you know what I'm saying? But what I would rather have, if the mother and father still wanted to be together, I would rather not be in that situation. Because if I still see that they love each other, but there was just I'm bowing out of that. I'll be like, you know what, you two love each other, and I bet 10 to 1 you guys are still screwing. So I'm not gonna be a part of that. You know what I'm saying? That I'm not gonna be a part. I'm in the way, so I'm leaving to get a woman of my own. There's just too many women. There's too many women out there for you to be going through some unnecessary nonsense. For one, it's just like, no, okay, bye. You too. Good luck. I'm out of here. But yeah, so you got yourself a couple little ones. If they're good kids, I have no problem. Uh, I have no problem helping them get up and on their way and getting out the door. You know what I'm saying? And it's better when they're like 4 or 5 and 6 because they're still learning. They don't think they know it all. They're very dependent. And this is where you want them to be, so you can drop some knowledge on them, like, yo, son, little homie, you know what I'm saying? We gotta get you strong so you can get out here. And the little young lady, I teach her how to move, how to operate. So it just grows on her instead of being a shock to her once she gets out here in this world. She already knows what good and bad looks like. Take her to the hood and show her, listen, this is the bricks. This is where it goes down. This is, what I'm saying? If you got some homies that live in the bricks and they got little shorties, all right, this is how they live. You know what I'm saying? Hey, it ain't no joke out here. It's crazy. And teach them that so they don't, you always hear the preacher's daughter being the worst. And the reason why that is because the kids are sheltered. And you don't want to tell your little girl the crazy stuff that's out there. Well, guess what? She's curious. And when she gets older, she's going to navigate to where her curiosity takes her. And a lot of times it's just not good, and it'll take her a couple of years to get out of that. So instead of that, you say, hey, this is the good part of town. This is where we live. This is the highfalutin part of town. We can't afford to live here. This is the rough part of town, and this is how these people live. So you have knowledge of these different subcultures within our culture. And, you can look at the schools they go to, even the grocery stores that they shop at, and just, let them know, look, this is how life is. So it's just a way of protecting your kids, whether boy or girl. It's just a way of protecting your kids because their mind is now seeing these things, and it's so curious about, what's out there, because they know that there's even in the good parts of town, there's still somebody who will take advantage of you some kind of way. They'll take your money from you. They'll take anything from you, and it could be the nicest, brightest part of town you ever seen with the beautiful houses. They'll take something from you. They'll rob you blind because you think that they won't. You're naive. So you just gotta let them know. That's just how I feel. But as far as I am not completely object to women with children. However, I do not encourage, I'm gonna go out here and get a woman with 2 kids. But at my age, the women who are mostly gonna come after me are within my age bracket, 35 to 50, they're gonna have some kids. It just is what it is. You can find some without, but there's a good chance Shorty's gonna have some kids, and you're gonna have to deal with it. Do you want to deal with those kids or not? I've dated some women with some great kids. It's some great teenagers. They were just awesome. Very smart. One young lady, I dated her for a short while. She ended up getting married to a guy she met in Jamaica. Went on a trip to Jamaica, came back and married the dude. I was like, okay. But she had a son, and I remember he's like 16 or something like that. He was a great kid. He was just he's just a great guy. He had great conversation, loved his mother, just a very respectable man. So, or I'm pretty sure he is now. But yeah, so you guys who are out there, in the dating game, be careful, You can tell a lot by the child's, demeanor. You can tell how the mother treats the child. And what's most important is you can tell who's been in the house. If the child is screaming all the time and acting a fool, somebody who was screaming all the time and acting a fool has been in the house. It might be the baby's dad, might not be. Uh, if the child is like nice to you and talking to you and hey, and just then she's just a nice little curious child, which is normal. You know what I'm saying? If she's screaming or a little boy is screaming at you, wanting to fight with you, it's like, I didn't sign up for this. So sometimes when I deliver, a fridge or something, I'll run into a woman who might got, 4 or 5 kids, maybe having some children. I'll be like, good grief. And one time I was delivering to this mom, and her dad actually helped me deliver the fridge. But she had like 3 or 4 little ones, and the one little one would not leave me alone. She's just a little girl. She would just come up to me, and she was looking at me and talking, and I'm trying to talk to the mother, and the mother's trying to tell her to be quiet and like in a nice way, like, girl, go somewhere. And we're having this whole adult conversation, and this little girl would not leave me alone. So I just picked her up and just involved her into the conversation, was talking to mother while I'm holding the child and talking to the father and blah, blah, blah. And then she would say something, I'm okay, fine, and then blah, blah, blah. And once she got that out of her system, I just put her down. She ran on about her business. It's just like that sometimes. Kids are curious. So I'm just saying, guys, the way the child is acting is reflective of the mother. And sometimes it'll tell you very quickly, get out of there. And then sometimes the mother is very sweet and the child is just mean because the child is hurt. So that usually happens in the teenage years, you know what I'm saying? The young teenage years, 12, 13, 14. It's just child is very resentful. So I met this one mother. So we were at a convention we were doing something at a convention, and the son had an attitude with me. Now, I didn't date this woman. It's just I met him that day. And then the son started asking me questions about comic books. And I'm like, yep, what about comic books? what are we talking about? You know what I'm saying? So the son started asking me questions about comic books and superheroes and just, running it down. And I was answering all of his questions. Like, he said, I thought you was a poser at first. And I was like, it's cool, man. I'm not a poser. You know what I'm saying? He thought I was just trying to hit on his mom for the boots. I was just like, nah, wasn't even interested. I was just talking to your mom. It's just a conversation. You know what I'm saying? So, I ended up winning him over because, I just, we had something that was relatable. And that's very important too, So if you guys are dating, someone with some kids, especially in their teens, if you have something that's relatable, it will be a lot easier for that whole transition. Sometimes when I'm doing marketing, hey, good afternoon. Sometimes when I'm doing marketing and promotions, I'm talking to a lot of parents, and their little ones will roll up, and I'll invite the little one into the conversation. It might be a little 9-year-old or something like that. Hey, how you doing, yada, yada, yada. And, I'm still talking to the mom, taking care of business on whatever item that she's looking at. But I would need at least acknowledge the child. And it helps the mother. It actually helps a sale, actually, because the mother saw that you acknowledge the child and the child's okay. If the child was hiding behind the mother, it's a little different. But if the child's like smiling and whatnot and actually engaged in what you're talking about, then the mother is most likely going to buy the item that you're selling. I mean, it's kind of a little psychology trick, but it works all the time. I don't have a pretty face, But, I know that whenever a mother rolls up with a child and that child is old enough to speak, on her own, I will always speak to that child. Always, and I won't be dismissive. I won't be like, "Hey, little one," and not look at the child. I'll be like, "Hey, who do we have here?" And the mothers always want to talk about their children. So the mother, I'll be like, "Who's this?" And either the child will tell me the name or the mother will tell me the name. Then I'll acknowledge, "Hey, how you doing? What's going on? What are you into? Blah blah blah." And then after I've done that little 30 seconds of, or not even 30 seconds, just 10 seconds or whatever, I'll go right back to the mother to keep her attention. And now she's even more invested because the child is invested. And it's when it comes to marketing and promotion, like everything matters. Every little thing especially matters. And I've made a lot of sales, especially during that time. I think I was working for Home Depot. I was doing a promotion at Home Depot, and we were selling washers. We were selling particular parts to the washers, and we sold all out of them. Because I came in there and I was blah blah blah, and I just know how to do it. And everything that they were buying from then on was on back order, like from China. The warehouse didn't even have any, so so I had to tell them, "Listen, everything you're gonna order it's gonna take a few weeks," and they were okay with that. You know. So if you guys are going to date women with children, be relatable. Get into their world. If they play a sport, talk about the sport, even if you don't play it. Like, I don't play croquet. I played croquet when I was a kid. I ain't played croquet since I was a kid. But if that little boy wants to play croquet, then I'm going to go out there and play some croquet. Because I want to be with the mother, and I want the boy to be comfortable with me. You see what I mean? I want us to have something that's relatable. It'll make the child less angry because the father is not there. They know I'm not the father, and they want their father. And the first thing they're thinking is, "You're not my dad." And I'm like, "Listen, I know I'm not your dad. But the reason why he's not here is not my fault. So, what's up with the PS3 or whatever, PS5, PS10? I don't know what it is. I don't even do that, but I'll do it because it's relatable. So I'm just, it just makes the transition a lot easier, and you don't really have to start coming in and telling the kids what to do. You can just advise them. Like, I'm not really good at telling somebody what to do. I'm just good at telling them what's going to happen if they keep doing something. Why? Because I already know. I've been down this road before. If you keep doing that, if you keep petting stray dogs, you'll eventually get bit. But I don't say, "Hey, don't pet the stray dog." Especially if they want to keep doing it. I'm like, "Yeah, if you keep petting that dog, you're going to get bit." I just let them know, am I going to pet this dog or am I not? And usually they make up their own decision, and now they're not mad at you because you didn't say, "Don't do that." Because first thing they're going to do is say, "What? You can't tell me what to do." Be like, "Nope, I sure can't tell you what to do, but keep doing that, this is what's going to happen to you." Let them make up their own mind. I'm just telling you some easy ways to transition from one thing to another, because there are a lot of fine baby mamas out here. I mean, you see them every day. They're just some gorgeous baby mamas out here, and they're single. Like, they're single and looking, but they know that the child, as soon as a man sees you with that child, it's when you start counting your pockets. Now you have to count for 3 people instead of 2. You know what I'm saying? You got a little rugrat. Now if I'm serious about you, I have to feed that child. And the mother can't go, "Oh, well, I can take care of my own." That's not the point. You're not a man. I'm a whole man. I have responsibility. I have tacit responsibilities that come with you when it comes to the child. And I can't stand when mothers do that. When you don't have to take care of my child, I will. It turns me off. It's like, let's be for real. If we're going to a restaurant, you think I'm not going to pay for your child's food? If we're all going to a restaurant, I'm going to be like, yeah, I'm paying for hers, mine, but the child, she's paying for the child's. What kind of goofiness would that be? Be like, no, here's my card. Knock it out. But this is what the mothers are saying. When the mother says, oh, uh, you don't have to take care of my child. I can take care of my child on my own. Okay, the next time we go to a restaurant and the child is with us, then you pay for the child's. That mother's gonna be salty about that. So no, don't do that. Just like stop saying that and let me handle this because for one, if you're dating a mother with a child, it also I'll tell you what it does. Also, if you're like a real man, like I'm gonna step up to this plate, that child is a challenge. And one thing men love is a challenge. We do. And if you look at the child in a long-term sense, you're looking at what benefit can I get out of this child in a long term? That's really what you're looking at because you're going to get old. Is this child going to come back and support you once you get old? That's really what you're after. That's what you're after. You're after, is this child going to support me when I get old? When I'm 80 and 90, is this child going to come visit me? Is this child going to help me if I need to go to a nursing home or if I'm going to stay home? Is this child going to help take care of me? Is that, okay, my father or my dad, he's not my father. My dad is going through this right now and he's in his 70s. He's going through this right now. He helped raise another man's children, 5 of them. And when he needed them most, the mother and all the children bailed. They're all gone. They all bailed on him. And I'm not that close to him, but that hurt. That hurt to go down and see him in the house pretty much empty. And him just sitting in a chair by himself, all hurt up. And the wife is gone. She took furniture. The kids just came and took what they wanted, and then it just. But hey, he loved those children. So hey, buddy, this is what you invested in. You put them through college, and all this other stuff you did for them. And now, when it comes down to brass tacks, you see what it is. She's gone, and the kids are gone, and these kids make good money. You often tell me, oh, the one is a doctor. He makes 100,000. I'm like, but is he here? I'm here. Is he here? No, he's not here. They're not here. These 2 doctors that you bragging about. It pissed me off. I'm not even going back. I'm just like, nah, bro. I'm not dealing with this. That's what I'm saying. Are these kids going to take care of me when I need them? Some of the biological children do the same. I know some of, yeah. Yeah, no. Okay, so the biological children, you almost expect them. Okay, I didn't grow up with my dad. But when he called me, I drove 9 hours, twice to go and try to take care of business. Now, I'm not doing that anymore, but nonetheless, I ain't grow up with him. You know what I'm saying? So the biological, you expect to help you. And that doesn't always mean it's going to happen. When you marry into, children, it's a gamble. And from day one, you have to be thinking in the future with this child. Everything you do has to be an investment into this child, and that child has to know this. Like, you have to almost tell the child, listen, I know you're 6 years old, but when you grow up, how many of us heard that when we were growing up? When you grow up, this, that, and the third. And you just let them know, listen, if you're going to allow me to be with your parents, because if they don't want you to be with the parents, eventually the mother would be like, nah, it's just not going to happen. And the mother can love you all she wants, but that child, that child can ruin everything. But, you know, you have to tell them, listen, if you're going to allow me to be with your mother and to raise you, you know, then these are the steps that we're going to have to take. Look, I know I'm not your dad, but I'm here. Like, I go to work, I come home, I bring in money, I buy you food, you eat the food that I buy. Let's get that straight. Okay? Let's get that straight. When you need new shoes and all that, guess whose pocket that's coming out of? And that's it and that's all. So you got to let them know what the deal is, but pretty much say, listen, this is an investment. And the return is once the child gets old or older, are they going to help you when you're old? Because both of these things are going to happen. Yeah, so I understand what you're saying 100%. 100%. It's just what men. It's just dating nowadays is turned on its head. You just don't know. It's so sketchy now. And it's so easy to get taken advantage of. You know, you're finding the fathers who are making these videos where they find out that the kid is not theirs. And they've been taking care of this kid for, 5-6 years, thinking that it's theirs, and it comes to find out that it's not theirs. And then you find women who are having these children, and sometimes they'll have the child just to try to keep the father who did not want a child, and call him an anchor baby. It's just like you had this child thinking the father would stay, but that's not how things are today. It's now 40 years ago, you might have had better luck, but now that father's not going to stay. That father didn't want a child. You had a child, boom. And you got situations where fathers are walking into, a couple kids that aren't theirs, and then the mother is resentful to the children because he's like, you got two shorties, it's not what I want. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and leave. And then the mother turns around, and we've seen this on the news over and over, and she's resentful to the children. And, so that's also, terrible situations. But but like I said, everything is just a lot worse now than what it was even 5 years ago. You can meet somebody, be totally on the up and up with them, and they may have a child or two, and you're like, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and do this, but then the baby dad is still invested in the baby mama. You know what I'm saying? Like they're still kicking it, but you don't know this, and she's hiding this from you. But they're still intimate. And I have seen a situation like that happen with a guy I used to be friends with. One day he came home and her children told him that their father was just there. Like he just left the house. And he was, knocking a baby mama's boots because that's just what it is. And so when he heard this, he was like, wait, what? This guy is a construction worker. So imagine, and this guy's out here building bridges. Like literally, that's what he did for a living. He probably still does. He's out there. I mean, he comes home filthy. You know what I'm saying? And just walks in the house thinking it's going to be, hi, honey, I'm home. It's like, no, your woman just got banged out by the baby dad. Like, damn it, man. You know what I'm saying? And one day I was talking to her on the phone, and she was like, listen, I know you don't like me. I said, I don't like what you're doing to my friend. Like, you're no good. No, I don't like you. Not one bit. And eventually he got rid of her. Because I was telling him, why are you there? Bro, she's still invested in the baby dad. Get out of there, and he didn't want to listen. I don't know why, because she wasn't cute. She had, a couple kids that wasn't his. The kids were cool though, were some good kids. But I had no idea why he was still invested in that. And I used to take him to the club. Man, let's go to the club. Let's go find some chicks. And one day he found himself a cutie, and I think he's still with her now. So yeah, it just, when you're walking into relationships like that, you really have to find out, what's real and what's not real. And the baby's mother is not going to tell you that she's still knocking boots with the baby dad. She's just not, because she wants what you have. She wants you to be in the house. She wants you to go to work and come home. She wants that stability, but she still, gets it, she still has a thing for the baby dad. It is what it is. She got a thing for him, and if they get anywhere near each other, yeah, you gotta go. You gotta go, bro. You gotta leave her alone. So, yeah, I don't know. Dating women with children is tricky. But like I said, at my age, it's a good chance that you're going to, if you're going to date, you're going to have kids. The good thing about dating women who are around my age is the kids are grown. They're pretty much, they're either out the house or close to being out the house. And hell, some of them even got grandkids. Not a terrible thing. You don't have to take care of them. Now, sometimes even the grown kids will tell the mother not to date you. And I've had that happen too. And I couldn't figure out really what was going on in that situation. So I won't talk about it ad nauseum. But it's happened more than once where a grown kid is like, nah, you're not dating this guy. Don't do it. Mom, we're not going to date this guy. Like, aren't you 25? Like, what do you have to do? You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. So you just got to be careful. Just got to be careful. You could fall in love with the wrong baby mama. And then if you have a child with her, that hurts even more, don't it? It just hurts like, dang, because now you stuck. Now you stuck. And if she gets a little crazy on you, if she flips out on you, and here's how I don't understand. Why is it that when you start having kids, relationships get crazier? What is it about having a child to make people flip out even more? Like, wait, what? We're even crazier now? I don't know. But, yeah. That's what I have to say about it. If you're going to date a woman with kids, be careful, But if she's got some good kids, she's a good woman, man, take that chance. Take that chance. I know some people with some great kids. There's one young lady, she had 2 little boys. Yeah, I have a little girl, but, she's not little. She's 26. She lives with her mother and grown up with her mother, so we don't really associate. I knew this one young lady lived around the way. She was literally an around-the-way girl. She had 2 sons, great kids. Not one curse word. When I come over, they didn't say anything out of line. They were happy to see you. And they were like 11, 10, 11 years old. They're great kids. Just two little boys that you would love to take to the ball game. Like, that it would be just a great day if you could just take them to the Pirates game. Like, I would have done that. I didn't associate her with her too long. But if those little boys would have liked some baseball, I'd have took them to the game. No problem. Not one problem at all. Pay for the whole thing. The whole trip, let's go. I would have done it. Because it's an experience that they'll never forget. And it's just a good investment. I would have done it. Heartbeat. You want to go to a baseball game? Let's go. Pack it up. We're leaving. Heck, you leave the mother behind. I'm taking your kids to the ball game. You're going to be doing whatever. Who cares? We're about to go and, yeah, that's what we're going to do. Go to a ball game. So there's just sometimes you just need some good kids who just, sometimes they're disadvantaged because, for one, their father's not around. And sometimes they just don't have the finances. And you might have a couple dollars in your pocket. It's like, okay, we're going to go to the game. Take them to the game. They'll never forget it. Have a couple souvenirs. They'll be talking about it for the rest of their life. You know what I'm saying? It's just one of those things. She had great kids. Sometimes you don't get so lucky. Sometimes the kids are just, you can't mesh with them. There's no congruency. I dated this one young lady a long time ago. Her teenage boy was a little thug. And when she introduced me to him, it was almost like she was afraid of him. She was like, yeah, this is so-and-so, so-and-so, this is my son. He was like, what's up? I was looking at him like, am I going to have to beat this little dude down? Like, coming at me like a grown-ass man. I was just like, how you doing? I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Like, how old is this dude? Like, this is a whole grown man up in your house. I'm serious, but, yeah. This is like, there's nothing I can do with that, because I'm not a thug. I don't know how to be a thug. I don't want to be a thug. I don't, I don't have any dealings with thugs. I don't do what thugs do. So if you're one of these people that want to run around and be, hardcore, yeah, I can't help you with that. But I can tell you where you're headed. Because I have some thug friends. And they have a rough life. They have a life that I do not admire. So, I could be like, yeah, you can go out there and steal cars and run the streets and act a fool, but let me tell you what's going to happen to you when you get older. This is what's going to happen. And then I leave it, I leave it to them to make a decision. Because that's just how I deal with people now. Especially younger folks. I don't tell them what to do. I just tell them what's going to happen. Statistically, usually starts off with, it's a good chance. Meaning statistically, yeah, you're going to get shot in the face if you keep doing this. You keep breaking into people's houses. Statistically, somebody's going to be home and they're going to have a 9. It's a bad deal. Statistically, you're going to go to jail. Statistically, you're not going to be able to get any government job, any state or city job, statistically. You're not going to be able to get your felonies expunged, statistically, because they're going to be on your BMI record. Yeah, you're gonna have to stay into the thug life because you're not going to be able to be a normal working person. So, and we know that the thug life, that stuff burns out. You act hard all you want to, but for those, listen, the few that are actually getting money like that are doing it the hard way. And then they can't invest their money because the government, once you get into the system, the government keeps their eyes on you, like all the time. Like one of my buddies, he was a little D boy, and when he was we were working together, and it was like a job for $8 an hour. And I was just like, you did all that crazy stuff, and you right here with a regular dude making $8 an hour. He was like, yeah, man, this is what I used to do, so on and so forth. And he said, now the police come to my house and pick me up, put me in the back of the car. He says, I already know what the deal is. Take me right to jail. He said, they come get me whenever they want to, and there's nothing I can do about it. Yeah, that's how his life is. They just look at him and be like, yo, get in the back of the car. And we'll take him to jail. There's nothing he can do. They don't need an excuse, no nothing, because he was a notorious D-boy. They'll put him in there for, a couple months, he'll get out. After they siphon his pockets. I mean, it's bad. That's just a life I would never want to live. So, a lot of these kids run around here, like this one mother. I delivered a stove to her house. And I put her on payments, so, every 2 weeks I go over there and get my money. And she started talking about her 12-year-old daughter and how her 12-year-old daughter has a sudden interest in, boys that are, her age. Little, I don't know, middle school boys, I don't know what grade that is. And she says, yeah, she was reading a book and it was talking about what, adults do and all this other stuff. And she said it just broke my heart because now she wants to do these things. And I just looked at her like, for one, she's 12. She's not, 2 years old. She's 12. She's around other kids that are 12. Yeah, they're curious about each other. I'm like, you're going to have to step in and navigate this now. You can't just be in a state of shock and not do anything and then want to go beat up some 12-year-old little boy because they're both curious about each other. That's not how the world works. You have to help her navigate through this because it's going to be tough for her. It's going to be tough for her to listen to what you're saying and then listen to what her body is saying. That's the battle of a teenager. Hey, welcome to the real world. You got 6 other kids. What are you talking about? She's like, I was just so heartbroken. I'm like, you shouldn't be heartbroken about that. Now it's time to be a mother. Let's go. Get it into gear. She's got brothers. She's got older sisters. You guys can all help her navigate through this. She's curious, and you don't want her to find out the wrong way. Go and talk to the little boy's parents. Get together and, chaperone him. I mean, I don't know, do something though. If she's reading about it, that spirit has already gotten a hold of her. So she's going to sneak off somewhere and figure these things out. What you don't want her to do is to be in trouble. So now it's time for the education of a mother. That's it, that's all. And wish you luck. I wish you luck on that one. But she had a bigger brother. He was 14, good kid. So get him involved. It's best I can tell you. Get to everybody get involved in this because it's gonna be a wild ride. And she's gonna be just fine. I met this lady. Well, I ain't meet her. Well, she lives across the street from me. And she's 50 years old. And she told me she still wants to have children. She doesn't have any kids. She's like, yeah, I want to have children. I was like, How old are you? 50. I don't know of any 50-year-old woman, even though I know it can happen. But I don't know of any 50-year-old. I know of a 40-year-old, but I don't know of any 50-year-old woman. I mean, I don't know. There's some women still on here. Can one of you ladies tell me, is it possible at 50? And that's a serious question because I don't know. I know that there is a life expectancy. The older that you get, the less the life expectancy of the child and the mother surviving. So, but I don't know when birth is statistically done for women. Like what age is birth finito? Like, don't even do it, or you're gonna be, in some serious trouble. Like, so ladies, can you fill me in on that? Because it is possible. Okay, so do you know any statistics on that? Like, what are your chances at 50 years old of having a successful birth? Nice lady, too. Very nice lady. Yeah. Little petite thing. Very nice woman. So I was like, well, you better get on that. I mean, if you're gonna start now, like, you need to get the injection or have some man, like, you need to get the pool boy on it, like, right now. It's very low. She needs to adopt instead. Yeah. Thanks, Aisha. Yeah, they're all called change babies. They usually look old too. Stop. What? So wait a minute. Hold on, I gotta stop the music on this one. I gotta stop the music to make sure I'm correlating what you're just saying. You're saying a woman at 50 years old, if she has a child, that child's gonna look old? Am I understanding that? The child would look old? If an older woman has a child, the child looks old? Huh. What? So, yes, I grew up. Okay, so this is interesting. Now, did the child look okay? Okay, so there's just so many questions. Like, what age does that start? Does it start at like 45 to 50 and the child will look old? Why does that happen? Is it because of the reproductive system is aged to like, oh my goodness, that's heavy. I used to work with special needs kids, and it's a higher chance for a woman once they hit their 30s to have a special needs child. Oh my goodness, my mind is blown right now. My mind is blown right now. I did not know that. Holy smokes. Your child will look old. Oh, I'm bugging. There's another in my building. That little girl had an old woman's face. Okay, so does wow. Okay, so just some educational, y'all educating me big time here. Okay, so when you say special needs, what special needs are you talking about? And okay, so we're taking the age of 30 and up. Boom, I got that. Thank you. What special needs are we talking about? Are we talking about attention deficit disorder? Are we talking about the child is a savant of some type. Remember, they are coming from old eggs. Stop the madness. Stop the madness. Wow. You know what I'm saying? I would have never even thought about that. The child looking old. I know there's a disease where people look older than what they are, but I would have never. Okay, so is the child deformed in any kind of way? I know they look old, so do they automatically have like stuff that goes along with aging? Like, are their bones brittle? Do they have organ defects and things along that line? That goes with that. Are they fatigued faster? Is their learning slower? Although Stephanie Mills was 44 when she had her son, he has Down syndrome. Wow. Kevin Samuels was on to something, or is on to something. Well, ladies, I did not know this. I thought as long as, the body still worked, that the child comes out, Also, it's harder for a woman to get pregnant versus a man. The children usually have Down syndrome. It's harder for. What do you mean harder for a woman to get pregnant? Versus, okay. So when a man gets that age, he can still get a woman pregnant, but it's harder for a woman to get pregnant at the same age. Got you. The children usually have Down syndrome. The doctor told Stephanie Mills he would be born like that, high risk. And that's simply because, okay, so, see, this makes me want to look at what exactly is Down syndrome. Because if Down syndrome comes from age, then anyone within that age bracket or any child born with that age bracket would most likely have Down syndrome. It's almost like you can tell how old the mother is according to just looking at the baby. Yeah, that mother was 30 when she had that baby. This mother here, she was 45 when she had that baby. You know what I'm saying? And that pretty much follows them into adulthood because if you look old as a child, you're going to look old as an adult. Well, that's pretty deep. See, I never studied the anatomy of. Okay, so in my studies, I studied the anatomy, of course, biology 101, 121, and 122. But I was more into the cellular structure. I started getting more into that, from the epidermis on down, the four layers of skin, and, yada, yada, yada. I started, getting really into that. Some bone structures, but not really into like the reproductive system or like the brain and things along that line. So wasn't getting into it that deep. And the thing about it is I still might go back to college and get a biology degree. I enjoy biology. I like looking at cadavers and trying to figure out who's on first and what's on second. Because when it comes to test time, they're asking what muscle is this and what muscle is that. I just look at what muscle innervates into the other muscle and pretty much deductive reasoning tells me what muscle it is and or what bone is what. And I, look at it as a photograph and take it in my head and then break it apart and then I can see what's what. So those tests come pretty easy to me because I just like looking how things separate. Almost like, if you ever watch The Expanse or something like that, when they take something and they open up space so they can, look at a smaller area. I do that in my head. So I'll take the hand and look at the phalanges and then separate, each muscle within the phalange and bones and all in my head, and that tells me what's what and who's doing what. So, but yeah, that's just very interesting. I did, wow, big ups to OBGYN. Good grief. As a guy, you just don't understand these things because you really don't get into them. You look at, as if you don't work on something, you just expect something to work. I don't work on, cars, you know what I'm saying? But, when I start my car, I expect it to work. I don't expect it not to work, you know what I'm saying? You don't work on bodies, you just expect the body to work. So it's almost like you're a victim to assumption. I'm assuming that the bus is going to be here. Well, the bus breaks down sometimes. And then now you're just like, okay, well, if you're the person who has to get this bus running, now you start investigating why the bus is not running. You know what I'm saying? You just don't know until you have to, pretty much. So that is some deep stuff. And now it's got me curious to how you know, but I'm not curious to how like babies are, like the whole reproduction system of male and females. I'm curious of the cellular structures. That's really where my interest would be in it. Like I wouldn't want to be an OBGYN, but I would like to be I would like to study just how the cell um, mimics each other, you know what I'm saying? And then reproduces. And I've always been fascinated by that, stem cell research and stuff like that. But I've just always been fascinated by that and looking at it and going, how can the cell be manipulated in another way? And there's a lot of people who are trying to do that. Now, at 50, your neighbor should be a grandma. No, she is a very single woman. So, man, my opinion, a man should marry younger, 100%. For example, a 50-year-old man with someone 30, 40, 42. Also, men look better at their age. Yeah, but you know what? In America, that's hurting men because females mature faster than men, or faster. Well, yeah, female faster than males. Let me make it synonymous. Females mature faster than males. Correct. So when a female matures, her maturity starts to accelerate once she's able to have children. And this is not always at the age of emancipation. As a matter of fact, the most likely it's not at the age of emancipation. Not even with parental consent emancipation. So this is a huge danger because a woman is looking to nest at as soon as they can start having children. A woman is looking to nest, and usually a man or a male does not have it together, usually far into their 40s. So this is why you have this whole structure that's being broken down in today's society, where the female who is able to have children and is looking to nest cannot naturally go out and look for a successful male to nest with because society says that it's illegal. But it's happening on a natural, biological level. Exactly. So men need to lead. So it's better to marry a young woman. No, 100%. But you can't do that either. You can't do that. Uh, uh, you have to wait until this female is in the middle of her prime years of having children in order to legally marry her. We're not talking about sex. We're talking about marriage and then, building a family. You can't legally approach a female who is ready to have children as soon as they're ready to have children. You cannot do that. Heck, nowadays you can't even say hello to a 20-year-old without her screaming some craziness. I mean, you have to be careful of who you look at nowadays. You literally do. That female will turn up her face at you and make a big deal out of it and put you all on social media and call you all kind of creepy when what's really happening is you are 20. So you're at your prime, your peak birthing years. And I'm, 40, 45. I have everything set up for you to have a child. Everything. For us to get married, for you to have a child, or 3 or 4, and all of those children will be taken care of. All of them. I have the whole thing set up. But it's so weird now, and you can get ostracized and lose everything that you built just off of one look. And you can't say I'm lying because you know I'm right. So you have a lot of natural structure that is being completely disregarded and taken away and just thrown out the window simply because men are afraid. And they have the right to be afraid. They're just afraid. Like, you can't approach. And then you have, this social media, this Instagram and stuff like that, where tits and tail is all over Instagram. I mean, look, there was recently a gamer who went off on Twitter because Twitter has been taken over by females showing ass and tits. They're not interested in gaming. They're only interested in showing off their body and teasing the men because they know there are a bunch of lonely, horny males playing video games on there, and they get on there in the tightest and whatever and flashing everything that they can legally. Some of them have even gone to the point where their Twitch has been taken down. So, yeah, I mean, but you can't approach... I'm not going to walk up to an 18-year-old and present myself available and, hey, I have a house, I have a car, I have, an IRA. I have everything that you need for us to have, let's get married and have children. I had one 17-year-old offer me that. And you know what I did? I ran. And then when she was 18, she came back and offered me the same thing. I ran again. And then I saw her a year later, and she was with a guy older than me. And she just looked at me. But he got you when you were, 19, 20. You approached me when you were 17. All I could think about is I'm going to jail. No, but I'm saying, yeah, but you're saying 30. But when it comes to having children at the age, when you come to having children, you're late in the game when you're in your 30s. You're not at the height. Yeah, but you're not at the, but see, the problem is when you're 30 years old, you are in decline when it comes to the ability to have a safe pregnancy. I mean, am I wrong? You're in decline. The end of the road for a safe pregnancy is 35 years old. So you mean I meet you at 30 years old? We got to get busy right now if we're going to have 3 kids. If we're going to have the standard 3 kids, we have to start knocking boots right now, the day I met you. We don't have time to waste because there's a good chance we're going to be together for more than 5 years, but we only have 5 years to knock out these 3 kids. That doesn't give you much recovery time. I mean, when you start looking at it, 9 months, 9 months, 9 months, your body, you're not going to be enthused about that. You have a child. How long does it take for the body to recover till you can start having another child? What is it? 3 to 6 weeks to so many months? I don't know what it is. I'm not OBGYN. But how long is it? So when you start doing it, if you're starting at 30 and you start doing the math, I'm going to read that in a second. If you're starting at 30 and you start doing the math and the danger zone is at 35, you can pretty much hang it up if you want to have a nuclear family of three kids. You can hang it up. Yeah. I mean, when you start doing the calculations and you look, the downtime of the baby factory is really your biggest problem, unless you have twins. But that's really your biggest problem. Even if you want to squeeze them out, but mind you, you're 30, so you're a working woman at 30. And even if you're not a work, you're working on something at 30. Even if you're an at-home wife, you're doing something. But nonetheless, you're like, okay, I meet you. Say I met you, boom. You know what I'm saying? I meet you, boom. I have a fantastic job. I make 120,000. Boom. I got you covered. We got everything covered, right? I meet you. You just turned 30 that day. For one, you have to you have to fall in love before you even make this agreement, before you sign that contract. You have to figure out, are you even amiable? Are you, both on the same wavelength? How long does that take? Let's just give it 6 months. Let's give it 6 months of dating till you know that, boom, okay, I want to spend the rest of my life with you according to law, and you want to spend the rest of your life with me. Boom, you got 6 months. That's 6 months already down. If we're doing it the right way, skip the conversation. Let's get right to it. Something's going to have to be untraditional if a 50-year-old is going to meet a 30-year-old and decide to have a family of three kids. Something's going to, if you're going to be the Huxtables, it's not going to start at 30. Right. We have to move it, buddy. You're going to be dragging that man into the bedroom as soon as possible. And I'm telling you what, it's not going to be about love. That woman is going to be like, you need to put that into this, and we need to get something out of it in the next. you know, she's in decline. You're going to be like, buddy, let's go. And 1 pump, 3 pump, 4 pump. It's going to be like one of them things you carry on your wrist to tell your heart rate. You're going to be like 2 pump, 3 pump, 4 pump. It's going to be so mechanical. There's not going to be any love into that. But like I said, 6 months, boom, you get married. Then you start, doing a horizontal bump, if we're talking traditional. You know what I'm saying? And you're like, come through. Oh, well, I'd love to hear how your relationship is going with your man, because I bet he is over there with Gatorade and everything, just tired. Uh, he probably got a thing. Bro got asthma and everything. You wearing him out over there. But yeah, I mean, 6 months, and then then you start the act of procreation, and being at your 30, it's hit or miss. So then you have to look at ovulation, the time of ovulation, because you just can't jump in there anytime, and it happens. So you got to wait until that comes around. Oh my God. It's just so much time, and in 35, your kid starts looking old. Ah, you have that. Oh, you're still calculating. You ain't got no man yet. Well, that dude better be a younger man, because we already know what's going on over there. You don't want kids. Well, there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Kids are a lot of responsibility. Yeah, you have money. See, I can't afford a child. I don't make $100,000 a year. This job that is being offered to me recently is $45,000 a year. I broke that down to pretty much all my bills. in my current living. And I live in a two-bedroom townhouse, so there's plenty of families that live here. Uh, so would I be able to afford a family off of $45,000 a year? It would be tough. It would be tough. Now that you love American freedom. Now that plus my hustle, that would put me, yeah, see, it would be tough off of 45 a year. Now that plus my little hustles and all the little side stuff I do, if I start making 45 a year just in one job plus sell my little refrigerators and fix stuff and scrapping. I like listen, I count all my little money. I count it all. Okay. I walk around the parking lot looking for pennies twice a day. A lot of this change comes from, where this comes from? Scrapping. This is some of the change from scrapping, riding around picking up metal. I picked up a metal tub yesterday. That damn thing was heavy, and thank God somebody cut it in half. I picked that damn thing up yesterday, took it to the scrap yard. They paid me $40 for it, just for one piece of metal. Paid me nearly $40 for that. Scrapping is like like I when I go to the scrap yard, I see people bringing in four refrigerators, three stoves, just piles of stuff. It's like $100. Oh, scrapping is so real. So you need a career woman. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If I run into a 30-year-old right now, she's going to be a working woman, career woman whose income is higher or the same. She would just have to match mine. This should not be hard for you to do. Women are all, oh, yeah, this is true. I'm not necessarily looking, but women are all over the place. Yeah. Yeah, she would have to. I mean, if you have two people who are making, let's see, with all the little stuff I do, I would probably be sitting around 55 a year, somewhere like that. Now, if you have, two people who are both making 50, who are both doing 50 a year, most women with careers usually act like men. Well, their mind state is like a man. Well, you got, okay. In a woman's defense, okay, so in a woman's defense, there are more men on the planet, or there are less men on the planet than there are women. That's just on the planet. So when it comes to society, for one, women are, yeah, six figures combined. And that's just at the basic. That's not raises. That's not really doing, that's not even including the hustle. I mean, you can make, I mean, if both of you are making 50,000 to put you, in 100 grand, and then, you have your IRA, you have your stocks and stuff like that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, well, I ain't got a problem with that. I'll help you out. But I'm gonna get to this woman question, and I'll get right back to you. Okay, so there are more women on the planet than there are men. A lot of these women are working. COVID-19 was shutting down like 180,000 women from their jobs like in one day. So it was crazy. There are more women that are working. There are less men that are working because of the Me Too movement. So, because of this, like you have 1 million men who were out of work well before COVID started because of the Me Too movement. So, you have more women who are CEOs, who are literally CEOs, not these just boss up chicks who have no employees. We're talking about literally who are CEOs, like the CEO of Yahoo. Was a woman till she got a discriminating charge against her because she was not hiring men, she was hiring women. So there are just more women who are working, and now they're making more and more money. So their attitude is very masculine, 100%. Uh, uh, and in some cases, almost like some of them have to be. But in other cases, I don't understand why they're doing that because they're chasing away any potential of having a man. Period. So yeah, so there's a kind of a defense for them because there's more women just out there working, and then there's kind of like on the other side, like you're not even gonna get a man because you're so masculine. I don't want a masculine woman. I've turned down women who are millionaires, wanted to marry me. I was like, no, because because this is your house, and when you don't like me anymore, you're gonna kick me out of your house. You're gonna trade me in, and that's exactly what they did. Except I saw it coming because a woman had done me like that before, and I ended up being homeless. Don't ever move into a woman's house. She'll never respect you, not to the fullest potential. She'll always think you're replaceable. She'll be playing Beyonce in the background one day, and that's it. To the left, to the left. No, I'm not playing those games. You can move into a house that we both built. We both made this. Both of our names are on the deed, but I'm not moving into your house. Yeah, I'm not moving into your house. Ice Cube's very married, by the way. Yeah, I'm not doing it because I don't trust a woman when it comes to me moving into your spot. I don't trust that. Now, if you want to go ahead and sell this house and let's both get a house and, we go 50-50 on it, that's what you want to do, I'm with that because we both have an equal say in it. And that's cool with me, but I'm not going to give you leverage over me so you can, I know these words are going to come out of your mouth one day. This is my house. And as soon as you say that to me, guess what I got? An exit strategy. I'm not going to mope around the house and, this, that, and the third. I'm going to leave. I'm going to be thinking, how much does a hotel cost? I'm going to start looking for apartments immediately. As soon as it comes out of your mouth, I'm going to pick up my phone and go right to Zillow. I'm going to be like, you know what, babe? You're absolutely right. Dang it, I'm not going to say much else after that. But you'll see it on my face. Oh, he's gone. Listen, a lot of relationship, when somebody says something that totally ruins a relationship, they're emotionally gone first. Their body just, is trailing behind. But you can see when somebody is hurt because of something you said on some flight by night, when they just leave, all the emotion is gone out of it. Now, I'm gonna get to the young lady. She was okay, so yeah, six-figure income, right. So can you make it today on a six-figure income? Can a couple make it today on a six-figure income? Absolutely. Absolutely, you can. And when it comes to medium wages, I'm gonna put on a different song. So when this is a problem that a lot of women are having. A lot of women, even good-looking women, go for the best-looking guys. They go for 10% of the men who are out there. And for those of you who want men who are making 100 grand and over, that is like point, 3% of the men who are out there. And then you start knocking down age, color, sexual orientation, or excuse me, sexual preferences, yada yada yada. It's just slim, and we're just talking about 100,000. So when it comes to regular degglers like myself, if I go back into the working world, I would be, I'm looking at, well, this job that I'm talking about starts at 45. 45 is better than what most men, especially African American men, are making. Most African American men make in between 28 to $42,000 a year. And that's where they stay. This is not uh, uh, looking at how much of a raise they get. This is not looking at